Hello and welcome to Atomic Cast, episode 33 of the Atomic Cast. It's Tom here and Bert, say hi.
Hey.
That's a very effeminate. So today we're doing the tournament winning lists from June. I'm sorry it's taken a little while. Got carried away going to tournaments and having a social life. It was weird. I'm in an awkward phase in my personal life. We're at a friend's wedding season. So, because I am that old. So yeah, things have been slowing up, but we'll get there. We'll keep up with it. July's list will be just round the corner, so that's nice. We also had the great fun of Bert running his own event for the first time.
It was awesome. People had a really good time.
I got some cheese.
Tom did win a cheese.
That's what we're going to say about that.
Yeah. He got more than 5 times the votes of the second cheesiest person.
Lake Town. Still lost. What? Cool. So, the first event we've got on our my face has gone really bright. We've got the Conquest of Hibernia, a GBHL 100 up in Scotland, I assume, because Hibernia. 777 points, and was won by friend of the channel, Michael Bradford.
Hey.
So this is Bert's favourite list at the moment. It is the Assault on Lothlorien. So we have got Druzag, the Beast Caller. He has got 6 warriors with bow spear, 5 prowlers, a bat, and 3 spears. He's got Musga with an awkward banner and a bat. He's got Ashrak, 6 goblin warriors with bow spear, 6 prowlers, and a venomback spider. He's got a shaman with 2 warriors of shield, 2 warriors of spear, 3 warriors of bow spear, and 3 prowlers. Then he's got a wild warg chieftain with a bat and 2 wargs. So 48 models, a whole bunch of bows, like 15 bows. So not quite max. Could do one better. Go on, pull your finger out, Michael. And 12, 15 prowlers.
Yeah, 14, 15 prowlers. Yeah, he likes a beast.
Yes, 4 spiders and 2 bats, 3 bats, 4 spiders, 3 bats, 2 wargs, and a chieftain.
Yeah, Michael said before that he really likes a beast, and he feels like that's where the real strength of the list is. So I think he's gone enough bows. I think going up to 17, 18. Cool. If you do drop some beasts, but I think 15 will usually do the trick perfectly adequately.
15 is enough to reliably kill our thing.
Oh yeah.
Basically.
I just generally strike the fear of God into anybody, really. Even if you move, and if you move hitting on 6s, you're still going to get 2 or 3 hits. And if you're killing it on 5s, you're still going to get a kill, maybe occasionally a cheeky 2, which when you're at a model advantage in the first place is horrible. But I think Michael really likes the multiple avenues of threat. And when you have 3 bat swarms just lurking behind your lines, and you can make enraged invisible spiders, and you've got, how is it, 5? 4
spiders.
4 potentially enraged invisible spiders. You just can't cover every single threat, or if you do, it forces all of your heroes completely out of action. In which case, the beasts are doing the job without even expending resources.
Yes.
It's really good.
Yes, it is. It's Assault on Lothlorien. We knew it was good. It's good, and Michael has been good with it.
He has played this list a lot, and I think he's probably if not definitely one of the most experienced AOL players at these top tier events.
He's one of the few who's actually winning hundreds with it.
Yeah,
sure, plenty of people are winning like 90s and 80s and stuff with it, but winning hundreds with it is multi-day hundreds as well.
And I remember him playing this all the way back in October in London at GBHL.
Yeah.
So he's really this is one of those lists that rewards very skilled play.
This is also max bows, by the way, because it's 48 models, not 48.
Oh yeah.
So it's 43. So yeah, this is the most.
Oh yeah. You can knock some beasts out and get more bows, but
yeah,
no.
Because that's the only thing you would say. You referred to being as a model advantage, but it's only 48 models at 777, which, you know,
you're probably above the model count.
yeah.
Well, I mean, you're looking at what, like a 39, 40, something 37 and 40 model average. But if you're whacking 5, 6, 7 models off consistently, and you're able to either actively or passively shut down your opponent's heroes, spiders can just. I mean, I guess like a fight 3 battle line, just lobbing a spider into a couple of lads, it's probably going to eat them.
It does.
Really good, really strong.
Can vouch. Assault on Dol Hull Door. So this is a GBHL 90, 750 points. Matthew Light, I think it's Matthew Light Barnett now. I can't remember what his
It is Matthew Light Barnett. Yeah. Congratulations, Matthew.
Yes. Sorry for missing off the Barnett. It didn't fit on the end of the thing, so I just cut it off. So this is Rivendell with Lake Town allies. As I worked out halfway through Bert's event, my list was Rivendell with Lake Town allies, not Lake Town with Rivendell. It's Glorfindel, Lord of the West, with Asphaleth and the armor of Gondolin. Bilbo Shaggins, he's got the ring. You've got 5 elves with spear and shield, 3 elves with bow and spear, 1 elf with banner and spear, and 1 connect. Oh, a flower petal just fell off into my plate. We have got Kieran.
That's an intro if I've ever heard one.
What?
That's an intro if I've ever heard one.
Oh.
A flower petal just fell into my plate.
All right, okay. Kieran, the Master of Lake Town with 15 dudes, 5 with spear. Braga with 12 dudes, 6 with spear, 5 with bows. And Alfred with 7 dudes with bows. So we've got 50 models at 750 points. Yeah, it's Lake Town with some stuff.
Oh yeah, you came across this when you were building yours. You kind of had your basic engine, the three warband of Lake Town, with some variations, and then essentially it's you want something else to ally in with Círdan, so you get the blinding light and awe of command and that kind of thing, and then it's the what else, and we don't see Bilbo very often. So I think he's really cool.
We used to. Bilbo was called last year. He was popping up in quite a few. I think I assume it's the one that Jakob used first, and then Scott copied it. But our Scott used this list. In fact, he took something very. I think he didn't take any elves. But he took Glorfindel and Bilbo and Círdan to my contest champions last year.
Okay.
With Lake Town, at 650. This is basically very similar to what I took at the weekend. I took 3 knights rather than 1 because we were at 805. The knights were really good, but when they died, they were dead, and that made me sad. But they were like really good when they were still alive, so that was nice. And they just became a target. There's too many things for you to shut down. If you're playing against something like a single Wraith casting type thing with Mordor in it, well, they can either like shut off Círdan or they can shut off the Master, but they can't shut off both. Glorfindel and Bilbo run around and suddenly become best friends because the ring and he doesn't have to strike. Bilbo with Braga is quite a nice little thing because Braga is fight 5 when he's around the Master. So then you say to people like, well, go on then, like strike, get to fight 10. I dare you. And you know what they're going to do about it once they win the fight. Yeah, there's all kinds of. It just drains people's resources, which is quite.
It's just the little things in this list as well, where you have to be so focused on working out where Bilbo is, see whether you can sort of Círdan. Glorfindel's an enormous threat, but then for a lot of people, it's just how do you get past the fight 5 battle line where it's 2 dice and a banner every single fight. Even that in itself is a real barrier to get past.
Yeah, I think I would have taken more elf spear boys if I did it again. I think, and less knights. I think I'd have probably done that.
Okay.
The knights added a nice bit of punch, but they also die very quickly, which is sad. Like a good hero can go through and just delete them, or a bolt thrower.
Oh yeah, but that's fine. But they're still taking a hero 2 or 3 turns where he gets through and you go, well, that's sad. I still have Glorfindel, Bilbo, Kid, and Master up and running. Yeah.
But for the price, you could have another 4 elves to make that fight 5 just really big. And you really don't need to use the Master that often when you consider that you've got at least 9 fights with fight 5 in them from the elf spears. That's quite a chunk of the board that you're taking up already. You can take away their kind of like banner section of their battle line with your elves and your elf banner, and then kind of envelop on the flanks and stuff. It's just it's delightful. Be intrigued to see how much of a comeback it makes.
Yes.
Who is next? We have got the Republic of Ashaya, which is a GBHL 80 at 500 points, and was won by Martin Seed using Assault on Lothlorien.
Okay.
Yeah. Muska, an Orc Shaman. So Muska the Orc Shaman with 1 Orc Warrior with Spear, 1 Orc Warrior with Shield Spear, 1 Orc Warrior with Banner and Shield, a Bat, 4 Wargs. Druzag, 2 Goblins with Shield, 3 Goblins with Spear, 5 Goblins with Bow Spear, 3 Goblin Prowlers, 2 Giant Spiders. A Shaman, 3 Goblins with Shield, 6 Goblins with Bow Spear, and 3 Goblin Prowlers.
AOL, yep. It's got
done. Right. Next.
Yeah. I mean, talk about an emerging meta, just going AOL Lake Town Soup AOL. The wild wargs are funky.
Are they?
I think having 4 of them, you'd usually oh no, because you once you go, no, you actually need to fill out the warband here, don't you?
Yes. So this is the problem at 500 points. You need to put stuff in the Orc warband. Basically. So that's when you start pumping it up with things like bats and wargs and stuff that you can do. I think when we did our local league, I took 2 wargs, a bat, and a spider, maybe 2. And like, yeah, it's the same principle. You just got to kind of chuck stuff into that Orc warband instead of having orcs, because the orcs are a massive liability. Basically, and the same thing with bows and spears on the warriors instead of just bows at the front, spears at the back. Because at the start, people were like, "Oh, we'll just put bows at the front, spears at the back," but now it's turning into a bow spear situation. So,
yeah, and I also having. I'm in whatever list. I'm always a fan of, even good goblins aren't winning that many fights. Having a few non-lethal strikes, just so you can manage the end game. Again, it just is a useful tool, isn't it?
With the Lake Town, having all of those shields on the elves, the shield spear boys, coming towards the end of the game and being able to just, I think it was Recon we're playing, and he was like, "That's fine, I'm just going to break myself." And I was like, "That's cool, I'm just going to stand here and shield." Because like, I'm going to piercing strike, so you guys are killing me on like 3s. So like, cool, I'm going to shield. Yeah.
I had this in a game of the weekend as well, where it was a VP scored thing, and I just shielded against Army of the Dead for like 7 turns.
That was fun.
I felt awful and bought the ladder pint. But it's just a good tool to have, and when you can drop them in for cheap, it can really make a big difference for VP diff.
So we move on to all good things in Staffordshire. This is a GBHL 80 at 350 points.
This I like. This I like.
All right. Well, tell us about it, Bert. What is it?
This is we call the Wolves of Isengard, right?
Wolves of Isengard, yes.
Wolves of Isengard, Legendary Legion. We have Shaku with Warg and Shield. We have 3 Isengard Warg Riders with Shield, 5 more with Shield and Throwing Spears, and 2 Wild Wargs. We then have an Isengard Orc Captain with Warg and Shield, 3 Warg Riders with Shield, and 5 Warg Riders with Shield and Throwing Spears with 2 more Wild Wargs, leading to a funky 22 models at 350 points when everything is quick and all but 4 are cavalry. I think
22 models at 350 points is good numbers, and it's all cavalry.
This is a blast. It's all strength. It's all strength 4 cavalry.
It is all strength 4. The biggest problem in here is obviously it caps out at fight 4. And Shaku has you have no access to strike or anything. But boy, does it kill your warriors. And once you kind of get that attitude in, it's really nice. It also skirmishes really nicely with the throwing spears.
In this volume, like even though they are orcs lobbing throwing spears, it is really nice. And like and a low point, if there's a load of like defense 4, defense 5 stuff, you're killing a lad a turn.
You've got 10 models with throwing spears. If you charge, you're hitting with 1/3 of those. So you're hitting with 3 or 4. And then if strength 4 into defense 6, say even defense 6, you're still killing 1/3 of those as well. So you're killing at least one thing a turn. And for a 10-point investment, 20-point investment, over the course of the weekend, over the course of the game, so you'll make all your points back and then some. I'd be tempted to drop another wild bark and give everyone else throwing spears too, but I do like having the infantry, just because it's quicker through woods. It's good for grabbing objectives. Like you need a few infantry kicking around. Yeah.
It's also that like, with everything being so maneuverable, when people talk about my opponent's got a big hero, people just go avoid it. That's not that easy to do a lot of the time. Like big heroes can move too. With the speed that this list has, it actually can avoid it really well.
Yeah, I ran this at 450, and you can quite happily send like Shaku in with a couple of boys, call his free hero combat, and just bounce back out again.
Yeah.
And just keep doing that. Like pick a dude on the edge of the lines, jump in, kill it, run away, jump in, kill it, run away, jump in, kill it, run away. And it gets incredibly frustrating for people. But it's great fun. Yeah, love to see it. I love these little like funky small point events that people are popping up with. Because it's a really good way of getting like 4 or 5 games into one day. It's some people often bemoan the lack of like high point single days, and I know it's one of the things you do as well. But it means you end up with only getting 3 games in one day. Whereas being able to get 4 or 5 games into one day is quite fun. I like it a lot. And they're quick. They're like bam, bam, bam. Like I bet this guy's like a lot of these games were over like half an hour.
Oh, and a ton of fun. There also like there are certain scenarios where this is really, really good.
Well, yeah, anything with the word Maelstrom in it.
Or recon.
Yes.
This is brutal for recon.
Yeah.
Well played, sir.
Slaughter in the south, a GBHL 90 in Birmingham, 550 points, won by Mr. Jakob Krockmal.
We were there.
We were there. Yeah. This was the day of the pits, where it got to like, I think it was round 3 or round 4, and 2/3 of the list in the like top 10 were all pits. It was like, oh, good, okay, pits is doing good, is it? So Jakob has gone for Azog, the White Warg, as his leader. A Hunter Orc with banner, 9 Hunter Orcs, 1 Hunter Orc with 2-handed pick, 6 Gunda lads with spear and shield, and a Felwarg. A captain, 5 Hunter Orcs, 6 Gunda lads with spear and shield, and a Felwarg. He will happily tell you that the optimal point amount of bows in pits is 0. Because you don't want to be sitting around shooting stuff, you want to fight it.
Yeah, I played this round 1.
How did it go for you, Bert?
This was a really fun first round draw. Drive all the way to Birmingham to play Jakob with pits at an optimal points level. I scored 0 points, and Jakob scored 12 points.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Not good, eh?
Yeah, it really wasn't the best. We had a situation where I think if I'd rolled like a 4 or higher to strike with Théoden, then I had an Elfin Blade in there. I could have killed Azog, but I didn't. And then I lost Théoden, Gamling, and 2 elves all in one go. Yeah, it was a really bad time.
Yeah, that'll do it.
Yeah. Jakob's quite good at this game.
I've heard.
He's not bad. It's a really good number of troops. And when Azog is sat there and can call 3 combats with 6 points of might on him, so you're looking at eight points of might, and on these time limits, that you've got the 100 captain who can call moves or marches for that. If you've sort of close, the 100 captain's calling the moves for the first 2 turns if you even need to. And Azog said, like, I'm not losing a fight. Like he actually can't lose a fight. 4 dice on the chart with 6 points of might. What are you going to do about it?
Yes, it's silly good.
It is silly good.
And then you've got your kind of 12 wide battle line or so, which is 3 strength 4 hits coming into you.
Yeah.
So if you lose a fight, you're dead.
So what amazed me was and ran the numbers afterwards. I honestly thought that, like, middle of the battle line, if I'm rolling 2 dice with gambling around for a third dice banner, I'm high fight. It doesn't care because it's rolling 4, and a lot of the time it's just rolling a 6 to win the fight so unbelievably consistently. And
it's
then
not 4 dice to win a fight, but
yeah. And that's right in the middle. When it's like on the extremities, and you're either rolling like 1 or 2 for shielding, and this is rolling 2 or 3 every single fight, it just rips through stuff. It doesn't care what fight value you are. It just rolls more dice than you.
Yes.
Yeah, it's really, really good. But just to go back one moment, the one small comment that I will make. So Jake, Rawson, and Jakob ended up top 2 after, like, the final round had finished, and they were both sweating my final game really, really hard because strength of schedule was the tiebreaker. So because Jakob had played me, if I won my final game, he ran the event, and if I lost, it would have been Jake. So yeah, I've never been anti-railed so hard by a player. No, cool event.
All right, so we then had the ambush at air. I think it's ambush at Amon air. I can't remember. I think there's another thing I've cut it slightly to make it fit. It's a GBHL 90 escalation event. So I've left off the first round, but the first round was 350, which was all mounted Roham with just like a couple of heroes. Then it went into, I'm loving your facial expression, a Defenders of Helm's Deep infantry list.
I adore it.
With Theoden, King of Rohan, heavy armor and shield, 2 Royal Guard of Throwing Spear, Gamling with his banner, 2 Royal Guard of Throwing Spear, Aragorn, 2 Warriors of Shield, 2 Warriors of Throwing Spear and Shield, Leggy and Gimli at 650, so 13 models. Then it went to 950, added 2 models, but put them all back on horses. So Theoden, armored horse, heavy armor, 2 Royal Guard of Throwing Spear, Dalewine, 1 rider of Throwing Spear, Gamling, banner, 2 Royal Guard of Throwing Spear, Aomer, horse, shield, Throwing Spear, 2 riders of Throwing Spear, Aragorn with armor, horse, and bow, Legolas with armor and horse, and then just Gimli.
Gimli just foot slogging it. These lists make me so happy.
It's just
it makes me so unbelievably happy. The list at 650. I wish I had the balls to take that list at that points level. Do I have a 650 event coming up? I don't think I do.
Run it in the Autumn League, the Swindon League.
Autumn League 750, just go 300. The only comment, there aren't enough children or old men.
Well, exactly. You've got an extra 100 points, put a child and an old man in.
I think it's a blast. And actually, because you have Gambling there, who's able to call moves just every single turn for you, into just a battle line, you could just call like 4 heroic combats and just start spaffing might to kill stuff. Like, you can start evening up that model disparity really, really hard. Or if you get this one just to camp back, Legolas can win you a shooting war by himself a lot of the time. I think this list is a huge amount of fun. 30-inch range Legolas. I think it's a
30-inch
blast.
range Legolas with an elven cloak on, just standing out of the way, going pew 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 pew.
Yeah. I would love to know who got the privilege of playing against this. And just looking at it and just going, oh dear, oh dear. I think it's just an absolute load of fun. Aragorn can just waltz into anything and just kill it, because you know, in a list like Return of the King, Aragorn, you need to use his might to try and keep the army moving, but in this you just don't. Like Defenders works really well as a death ball list, and this is just the death balliest of all death ball lists. I think it's awesome. It makes me very happy.
I'm gonna make you sad. Oh no, I'm not. I'm gonna make you happy. It's another Defenders list.
It is unexpected. Yeah.
At 350. So Clayton's gone for the this is Clayton Hodges, GBHL 80, King of the West. So that was up just around the corner. In Cheltenham. Theoden, Haleth, 4 warriors with spear shield, 2 royal guard with spears, 2 royal guard with swords, 3 warriors of Rohan with shields, Haldir, 2 Galafrim with elfbow, and 3 Gerlafrim. Just on their own, just chilling. Sound. Yeah.
Yeah. The war gear is funky. I imagine it's a point thing to try and maximize numbers. Because he's got what, 5, 6, 9, 11, 17, 19 models at 350. Seems good to me. 7 points of might.
With a lot of fight 5.
You have a lot of fight 5. No spears on the elves?
Yeah, that's my really.
I
guess you get more utility out of having throwing spears.
Yeah.
And you want the throwing spears. So
I guess you just lob. I think, again, with Haleth, you don't actually need to call the defense. You can just lob him into him and a spear support. Actually, there are only 6 spears in the list. That is funky. You can lob Haleth in against, I don't know, like a Minas Tirith dude with a spear with a ranger behind him. They're not going to kill him. They may do a wound, and you don't really care. The next time they may do another wound, you got 2 points of fate. So you can get that defense. You can get that defense, that fight 5 up for the Royal Guard really, really easily. And having 6 points of might to strike as well. I don't really know what's dealing with. Not ironically, I don't know what's dealing with Theoden at 350 points. When he's fight 6 a lot of the time, and he's fight 6, D7, spear spot behind him. He's actually really good.
So a couple of our friends went up to this event, so we did some brainstorming lists, and this is where you point out there's 42 Lake Town models. It's 350 points. We were looking at high 20s on Ugluk Scouts as well. A Spider Queen infused Dark Denizens, which had 20 plus wargs, spiders, and bats running around. That was quite fun. Goblin Town without the king at 50 models.
Oh, I didn't. I definitely thought about Goblin Town without the king.
Yeah. Grinner, Gollum, Captain, Scribe.
Oh yeah, because Grinner can still strike.
Grinner is a fight free striker. And if you put Gollum in there, so this one had a funky rule. So this is you should probably say the had special bonuses if you had kings and royalty. Hence,
that was it.
So you got bust, but it did also take away and hide your king. So they played retrieval. So they played retrieval. Seize the prize, I think, to the Lords of Battle and something like that. The missions were pre-stated as well. I could probably find them if I wanted to. But on retrieval, the king was the thing you were trying to retrieve. So Theoden was binned off on his own. He's not fighting there, but he's just like chucked off on his own. So you have to play this army without Theoden as well. Which is why Goblin King Town with the king is tough, because he's like 1/3 of your army at that point.
Yeah. So retrieval and seize the prize were two of the missions.
I don't know about seize. I just remember playing seize in a practice game with them. Let me find out for you. But yeah, retrieval definitely was, and there was some form of killie. I think it was Lords was in there. It'll take me a second.
No, it's fine. I am
do some talk.
do some talking. Clayton Hodges, if you manage to win retrieval using this list, all infantry, and like Theoden has march for you, but you don't get to use it. Well played, really, really, really well played. And I guess with Haldir and 2 elf boats, you actually can just start picking dudes off, and like some like low defense stuff. You can peel off quite nicely. I think I may have dropped, because you're missing 10 lot of throwing spears. So if you lose like one warrior of Rohan with a shield, you can get throwing spears on pretty much everything else. Maybe I think some spears on the Galadriel could have been really cool. But I also appreciate the theme of actually putting elves in Haldir's warband, and including Haldir. Haldir isn't seen often enough in Defenders.
Okay, round 1. Assassinates the king. It's assassination, but the assassin and target must be the force's leaders.
Okay.
Round 2. Rescue the king. It's retrieval, but your leader is in the thing. However, if it's a king, it's moved slightly closer.
Okay.
So that was nice. Round 3, seize the crown. It sees the prize. If the artifact is held by a king, they count as wearing the mithril crown from the armies of Lord of the Rings. So that is Groblogs +1 fight.
Ooh, so you can get a fight 6 Royal Guard.
Yeah.
That's fun. That's really fun.
And scenario 4 is Lords of Battle. Fate points rolled by kings do not count towards the wound tally. That's the only change in that one.
Okay.
But yeah. There you go.
I'm kind of intrigued by the event now more than anything. That sounds like an absolute blast. That sounds like a really good rules pack for an 80.
We had a good time mucking around with some lists that we thought could be just fun, not even necessarily good, but just fun. Like Walls of Isengard and stuff. We're just like, yeah, this would be great fun.
It's nice seeing 80s be used for these kind of formats at these kind of levels.
You mean the things 80s are meant to be?
Yeah, it's nice seeing 80s be the thing 80s are meant to be. No, it's lovely.
Okay. War in the North, GBHL 80, 800 points, doubles. So this was won by Chris McInerney and Jake Pollard. It is Minas Tirith, 800 points, pure Minas Tirith. So we've got traditional doubles. If you aren't aware, you tend to kind of have like one warband which is fairly tanky, and the other warband tends to be quite rapid. That's how people normally comprise doubles warband armies, just because of that's how a lot of the missions work. Boromir with banner, no horse. 5 warriors with shield, 5 rangers with spear, and 1 veteran with spear. Madril, 3 knights, and 1 Osgiliath veteran with shield.
This is my favourite list purely for the inclusion of an Osgiliath veteran or 2.
There's 2. Faramir with heavy armor. Oh, have I missed some bits off? And shield. 5 warriors with a silver shield, 9 warriors with shield and spear, 1 warrior with banner. Damrod, 6 rangers with spear, and a bolt thrower. So it's just 800 points of here's some Minas Tirith blokes. Best be having ya. It's very themey.
This is cool. Like, this is actually really cool. It's also got 16 points of might.
Nerd.
Yeah. Oh no, Dan was only got 1. 14.
Pathetic. Yeah, 14 points. 6, 9, 12, 13, 14. Yeah, 14. Yeah, 14 points in might. 11 rangers and a bolt thrower.
It's so much D7 to get through. And if we learn one thing from Arnold is that just a load of high defense lads is just really tough to get through.
Yeah.
It's the range threat is huge. Was it? So
11 rangers and a bolt thrower.
Yeah, that's and Damrod and Madrill have might powered shots as well.
Yes.
It's one of those. I also like the weighting of the numbers. So you got the half without Boromir is substantially larger. So 27 models at 400 is a really good size. It's a really good size contingent, especially where it's high defense. It has its own banner as well, so that list will work very nicely.
That would be a pretty solid 400-point list.
Yeah, that's a really sort of 400-point list. And then you've got Boromir in the other half leading himself, but then a six banner and the +1 fight. Both halves of this list are very tough because there's one. I think you end up being separated quite a bit in double scenarios. So in one of them, you have one contingent that starts is like the center of a donut and is surrounded by your opponent. These guys have clearly looked at the scenarios, thought that through, and worked out that either it's going to be Faramir with a really good number of D6, D7 lads with spear support and a banner, or it's going to be Boromir with fewer lads but himself there. I wouldn't really want to tackle either of these at 400 points. Like, how are you dealing with Boromir at 400 points?
42 late time models.
No, no, they're not dealing with them. They're just not. Oh, they also courage 2. So Boromir toots his horn and they all go, fair enough.
Yeah. Fair play, bloke. You got a horn. Yeah.
No, really. The little text of the knights as well. Yeah, I like it.
Shadow and Flame, GBHL 90, 500 points. One by Rob Mackey. It was his own event. Sus. He used Assault on Lothlorien. Yay! Woo!
Yep.
He had Musga, 4 warriors with spear, 1 orc with banner, 2 warg riders with throwing spear, and 1 bat. He then had Druzag, 1 goblin warrior, 6 warriors with bows, 6 prowlers, and 2 spiders. I was about to say 6 spiders. That's an awful lot. A shaman, 4 warriors with spear, 6 warriors with bows, and 2 prowlers.
Yeah. I like the couple of warg riders as inclusions. That ability to nab objectives, pack a bit more punch, so they can hover 9 inches away from someone on an objective. Wait for turn where you win priority, and then just jump in, pounce and eat them. They're a nice little inclusion. I think 1 bat, 2 spiders seems fairly standard at 500 points.
Yeah.
It has 12 bows.
You often see 1 bat, 2 spiders, and 2 dogs of some description, either mounted or not mounted.
Yeah. Few orcs included, but I think that's just to fill up warbands. It's tough. It's AOL. It's more shooting than a lot of lists can deal with. And if you can get that down to a sort of like 38 models against 25, weight of numbers and threat of beasties, it'll do a huge amount for you.
Yes. We have also talked about it 2 more times, so I'm not going to go too long.
Yep.
Then we've got Let the Dice Bear Decide. GBHL 90, 700 points. That was ours. Woo! Ash Wulga won this one. He had the Witch King of Angmar, 3-12-3, Crown and Horse. 2 trackers, 7 Morannons with Shield Spear, and 7 Black Numenorians. He had Gorbag, Captain with Shield. 1 Orc Tracker, 4 Morannons with Shield Spear, 2 Morannons with Spear, and 5 Black Numenorians. Cardouche, and 6 Orc Trackers. Suladana Serpent Lord with Armored Horse, 1 Harrod Raider with Bow, and Warspear, and 3 Serpent Riders.
Alex Walker doesn't like changing lists very often, does he?
No, but why would he? When you find something that works, it works.
It works. This list works really, really, really well. At 700 points, you're looking at 35, 37 model average, and he's outnumbering that with the Green Alliance. He's also outnumbering it with 3 heroes with strike, one of the probably the best caster in the game, a sneaky caster who effectively never runs out of will and can just snipe out horses and things. And then your battle line is big, it is D6, it is terrifying, and half of it whacks you back at strength 4. This is tough, let alone having a 6-inch banner. It's got all the tools in the world.
And then we let them veto scenarios as well. That was fun.
So I don't even know what. Educate me. I don't. It's such a solid list. I don't know what this list doesn't like. Maelstrom.
Yeah, potentially. But then you just put Cardouche on first, and then you're
fine.
too scared about miting to get to the others.
But if the Wiki ends up by himself, that's not the worst thing in the world. He's got 16 lads with him.
Yeah,
they're really solid.
Itself.
Oh, the mirror.
Yeah. It's not particularly keen on fighting itself, I don't think.
No.
Because you've got a Black Luminorians in the front who don't care about the terror too much. You've got Rannans in the back who will put strength 4 hits into the Black Luminorians with their D6, so you break through that. You've got Cardouche and the Witch King who can deal with all the cavalry quite happily. I think it really dislikes playing against itself.
It doesn't like playing against Assault on Helm's Deep.
No, and it also really struggled playing against Defenders at Helm's Deep. That was the game he struggled in quite a lot. But he got through in the end. With the lots of bodyguard and higher fights, basically.
Wasn't that Phaedra's Guard?
It might have been Phaedra's Guard. They're the same list. They're the same list to me. It's an awful lot of Rohan dudes on foot with throwing spears.
Yeah,
running around going pew 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 pew. Yeah, they're the same. They are the same list. I don't care. They're just yeah.
Yeah. The only thing it won't get covered in the future. One of the tech responses to this as well. We haven't seen that many Fight 5 lists outside of Lake Town Soup up there. So if most battle lines are Fight 3, Fight 4, Riders of Theoden rips this list a new one. In theory, it can't. That initial charge, even with the Cardouche and Witch King, you can't deal with everything. So in theory, that's not a great matchup, but by and large, it just has the tools to dismantle quite a lot.
Yeah, you have the thing where they will have to cop all the bows coming into them from the trackers, which is a few. You might lose a horse or two. They'll also wait until people are in combat and then just black dart the horses out from underneath them, and now they can't do anything, and now they're stuck. And a few things like that where you can kind of ride through it. But then I also think once it countercharges back into the Riders of Theoden, the Riders of Theoden just loses. So there's that. I think the turn 1 hurts, and then from there on out, it's pretty fine. Personally, I might be wrong, but that's my thoughts. But we'll see. And then Suffolk under Siege, a GBHL 90 at 500 points. On my Martin Siege with Assault on Lothlorien. I'm not gonna lie to you, lads. This is basically the same bloody list. It's Musga. He's got 3 Orc Warriors, 1 with spear, 1 with a banner and a shield. We've then got a Bat Swarm and 4 Wild Wargs. 4. Ooh. Druzag, 2 warriors with shield, 3 warriors with spear, 5 warriors with bow spear. For a second, I thought it was a banner. I was real confused. 3 prowlers and 2 spiders. A shaman, 3 warriors with shield, 6 bow spear, 3 prowlers. So, yeah, the difference is slightly less prowlers and 2 more wild wargs. That's about it. Is it also the exact same model count? It's the same model count.
Hang on, but we didn't we look at one of 500 that had 4 wild wargs in it as well earlier?
So this one has.
There was another one of 500 earlier with 4 wild wargs.
Yes, it was also Martin Seed.
So same. So is it literally the same? It is the same list.
Yes.
Yeah. The things that were good about it in a GBHL 80 apparently are still good in a GBHL 90. This list does the things.
Good job. Right. So, and then this is how the GBHL looks right now, which is obviously after June. More things have happened. There was a busy weekend of events, actually. There's 102 90s this weekend to go on to it. They're going on the next day or two. But you can see to our left here, the current top 30. Things are starting to kind of become quite clear, I think. So you got Farmer and Rawson are both on 390, I think.
Yeah, it's the 5th score. I think, yeah.
Jakob on 380, Jechari on 377, Bradford on 371, Ivan on 365, and then it's not just kind of peter off. What we're seeing interestingly with the addition of the 90s as we go through, I think, is that everyone, the positions kind of like 5 through 30, 40, maybe even 50, everyone scored more points than they used to.
Oh yeah.
So it looks like everyone's closer to the top than they were. But you could kind of take all of these points and just take 40 odd points off them and just drop them down, maybe 20. But yeah, just pull that gap down a little bit. It is still very much a kind of Farmer, Ross, and Jakob world. Because I think Farmer's two first and 2 seconds at hundreds.
They're both on 2 first, 2 seconds. But Farmer has a 3rd second, and Jake's is a third.
I see.
That's the only thing that's separating them.
I see. So yeah, that's basically where we at. I don't know how much else to say about that. Off to the right, we've got the team rankings. So again, the Guardians from Distant Lands, which is the group of people from all over the country, are currently doing well. I'm shocked.
Yes.
The 7th City team from Nottingham is also doing well. I am shocked. They were one of my picks to win the whole thing at the start of the year, so that's nice. The Guardians, who are based around Wiltshire-ish, but also the rest of the south of England, are doing quite good still. The Gollins Gamers, who is a group of people, 4 people from Portsmouth, and then a whole load of people they just kind of bullied into joining them.
They're the team version of Lake Town Super Friends.
Yeah, where their best person is Ashaya, who is from the Guardians Wiltshire team,
and lives in London. and wears a Guardians t-shirts to go to events.
And then their 3rd person is Adam Sirens, who lives nowhere near them. I'm having fun.
Oh yeah.
Hawfinch and Bucky Berserkers, I believe, are both teams from Scotland. And then Any Heroics and Team Atomic. Woo, yeah. Any Heroics only above us because they bullied someone into joining their team after he won a 90.
Yeah.
I'm just here for Irish. Then the best and Kazad Buram. So that's nice. And then we've got the best newcomer down below, which is heating up.
It is. I think some events will go through this. I say next month, in about a week and a half. There will be some changes to this list. For best newcomer. It is getting a little bit spicy. It's really nice.
Yes. Sorry, Chris, for beating you at Bert's event. I think this has the Northern Ireland 100 on it already.
Wow.
So,
Okay. So it doesn't have either of the two 90s.
no, but I believe it has the Northern Ireland 100 on it already. So yes.
Mhm.
So it's getting interesting.
Never know. Next month, you may even see one of our names on that top 30 list, potentially.
No,
Maybe. It's close. It's close.
we're both sat at like 30, 32 and 35 or something. It's the only reason I keep going to I keep trying to go to events is to try and get myself on the list. So
we can try and be on our own podcast.
I personally have the issue where I am going to have been to 100 by the end of the year. And it just it matters. Basically. Well. Next year, come back on. Whatever functioning spinal column. What's your excuse, Bert?
I serve food to people, and they like food being served to them on Saturdays and Sundays. It's really upsetting.
Oh, that's the worst. You don't
It
even
is.
give them food; you just go and touch them while they're eating. That's what I heard.
Yeah, that's basically what I do for a living.
He touches people while they're eating.
It's a good
Cool.
Sorry, I have no idea how to respond to this.
We've got July's on to do. July is quite busy with events. It's going to be quite a good one. August is then very quiet. It's almost like it's really blooming hot. And people are going off on summer holidays and things. And then we get into crunch time. So when the season starts to really rack up. I think I've got one of the last hundreds of the year now, but we've had to jump back all the way into October. So that'll be quite punchy.
Mm-hmm.
And a 2-day 90 right at the end of the year. It's going to be happening down the shop.
I think that there are a couple of 2-day 90s because Dewey's got one as well, hasn't he?
Yeah.
I think that could be like that kind of 10th to 30th could be people just trying to get to both the 2-day 90s, trying to get a big score, because those would be the people kind of competing for master spots for the following year.
Yes. So Masters is slightly different this year because we've now got 2 extra regions as well. So we have the Southwest, the Southeast, the Central, the Northern England, the Scotland, and Northern Ireland. So we've got 6 regions this year. So there's 6 regions and the best newcomer and the 3 podium spots. So there's only actually like 6 spots in theory that are available to people. Which in theory right now is Jed Charrier, Michael Bradford, Ivan Sheehan, Ed Bull, Ben Haslam, Aaron Pullen, Wooga. But Bradford is winning his region.
Aaron Pullen's winning Central?
I don't actually know.
No. Who knows?
And Wooga, I think, is winning his. Or Dewey is.
Wooga travels. Dewey won't go more than 5 paces from his house, and is still right up there.
Yeah, you're welcome, Dewey. I just need to stop running events, mate.
Please don't. They're the only ones I can make it to.
Yeah. But
I think the one thing that we are seeing that I alluded to earlier is this. I think early season we did see people going 280s like they were last year, whereas it's actually amazing how far down the rankings you can go for 80s to not really be relevant. So I don't think we'll see a last minute dash for the 80s. They should stay quite chill.
Yeah, Northern Ireland's on. Newbury. Cousin Brim is on as well. And Staffordshire is not.
Oh well.
It is. Their team's points are on. How convenient.
Oh right, so Dan's got his points, but I haven't got mine yet. Can't believe that. Give me my points.
The scandal.
If my points had been there, I actually would have been on the pod this time.
So Southwest region, Wolga is currently winning that, with Dewey in second and Dan in third. But that is tight.
That is very, very tight.
Yeah.
So that is what we mean by people will those both of those 2-day 90s. They are both in this region.
Yes. Southeast has lads have some more events. Martin, but yeah, there you are. Look. Yeah, 24 points, 20 points, whatever behind you.
Oh yeah, and Kyle's about to jump me really hard
because you ran an event. This is the problem.
I ran an event which I did not compete. I was tempted just to go solid. I'll just play and just try and win my own event because that's allowed apparently.
It is. You get less points if you win your own event.
Do you? Is that actually how it works?
Yes. Yeah, you get 20 less points, I think it is. So if you win a 90, you only get 70 points. Therefore pointless. But what you do is stop other people winning it. Yeah, Central, Rawson, Jakob. So Kalman's in, I think, because those two are already getting in.
Central is spicy. That's really spicy.
Yeah. Yeah. I enjoy that Jakob has more like season points, but Jake has more scores because he's only been to anyway. Northern England is not spicy.
I'm sure there's a nice way of putting that, but
do some other events.
Please just do some events.
Do some events, Northern. We're putting you on blast. Do some events.
I mean, they've had 400, but they've all the points have gone to people not from the north.
Yeah, bless them. I might compete in Northern England next year. Looks like a blast. Scotland,
it's really far away.
It is really far away. So Michael Bradford is winning Scotland, Northern Ireland. Then with Ivan Sheehan and David Reed.
Scotland love an event.
Scotland have loads of 80s and 90s.
Yeah. And they're all 10 minutes away from each other. So
yeah,
they can
just
all go
very few hundreds. That's their kind of issue at the moment. But also Scotland, it looks like Northern Ireland's beating you, so sort it out.
Yeah, so that is three of the top 5 aren't Scotland.
Disgraceful behaviour.
Just charm. It's pure charm is leading the way.
And the this is the one we got. This one. Where you can see so you got the top 10, and then South because we do the top 10 first, I think, and then it drops down the podiums of the regions. So if you weren't already invited, you don't get invited. So that's nice.
Okay.
So yeah. There you go.
Tom, do you think that assault on Lothlorien is a problem?
No, I've never lost to it. Basically, right. What I think about assault on Lothlorien is that assault on Lothlorien beats people who haven't played against assault on Lothlorien. If you've played against assault on Lothlorien multiple times, or you played with it, or you're generally pretty aware of what it does, I don't think it is as strong as it looks on paper, or I don't think it gets as many results. I would be interested to see how who it played, what it played at some of these events. It's the kind of thing I would expect if I turned up to like a 500 point GBHL 80. I would probably expect to put to comfortably podium with it, because it's just in it. Like you'd expect a less experienced group of people to be there, and you should be able to just gank some people for fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. It hasn't won that many hundreds. Only one or two. I'll tell you what, we have these stats as well. We can pull up. There are stats everywhere. We love a stat. Because I don't want to talk misinformed or just on conjecture. I am a fan of a evidence-based conversation. So
and also as kind of like Mr. Bradford, we are well aware that you did in fact win 100 with the Assault on Lothlorien.
Yes, Michael Bradford, we know you're good at the game. It's okay. Where is it? Bear with me while I find Assault on Lothlorien. There it is. It's at the bottom. So Assault on Lothlorien has 17 total podiums so far this year.
Wow.
That is not the highest. Minas Tirith is the highest, followed by Serpent Horde, and then Mordor on 13. What it's done is it's won 100. It has come second at 300s, and then it has won 5 90s.
Wow.
Second and third at a 90, 280s, and then second at 280s and third at 280s.
So yeah, it is cleaning up at 90s.
Yeah,
but in areas where how can we put this very, very, very nicely? We were talking about where a lot of the top teams are based in the like, team competition, places like Nottingham, Wiltshire, Portsmouth kind of areas. From what I remember, I think some of the 90s that have been won by Assault on Lothlorien aren't necessarily in those areas.
Okay. Mate, you fire your shots, King. Go on.
It's not firing the shots in a year. But put it this way: the 80s and 90s, the 90s at your shop tend to be quite spicy. I don't think Assault on Lothlorien has won an event in your shop yet.
Correct.
It's things like that. Where I think there's some really cool events like the things like Lake Town Soup winning Assault on Dolholder. I don't think that's somewhere where you'd see Lake Town Soup appearing all that often. And I think these kind of things, which I think are quite common.
Just going to leave this highlighted for people who say it's a problem.
It's not a problem. It's just very strong. Come on.
Army of Lake Town with 5 podiums to its name so far this year.
But it's not very strong. It's a pain in the ass.
Yeah, just 5.
Yeah.
Whereas Minas Tirith OP confirmed 21 podiums. Ban the Minas Tirith. Nerf Minas Tirith. Look at it. It is OP. Nerf it. Nerf it.
So 21 podiums. What's it done? So it's won 100.
It's very skewed to 80s.
It won the first 100.
Yeah.
So actually, what this is in terms of hundreds, what's won has anything won?
Yeah, Assault on Helm's Deep.
Nah, mate, it's rubbish. We've been saying that for years.
You have Assault on Helm's Deep and Assault on Lothlorien at Dragon Emperor.
Interesting.
So actually, if you look through, Assault on Lothlorien is actually doing it at all the levels. It's not winning them necessarily, but it is podiuming them, and I'm sure it's putting in strong performances. The Mordor Serpent Horde kind of alliance mix is doing very well. The Serpent Horde, Mordor Hunters, Eagles, Legion, Lothlorien. Because that's Eagles and Lothlorien allied together, I assume. Also with the Fellowship, that there's those soupy lists from City of Kings
and Ireland.
And Ireland, yeah.
But
yeah, Serpent Horde and Mordor is doing very well on its comeback tour. Azov Legion only doing okay at hundreds, terrible at everything else.
I like the Lothlorien who just keeps on chipping in.
It's here. It's having fun.
Yeah, it is actually around. Assault on Helm's Deep actually really is looking very, very, very strong.
Look at all these defenders of Helm's Deep armies winning events, but
I came close. I came close.
Look at these people winning 80s with Assault on Lothlorien and Angmar and stuff. You're bad people. You're mean. I'm going to say it. You are all big meanies. Leave the nice people at 80s alone.
I feel I haven't even won an event, and I feel bad by rocking up to an 80 with defenders, and then there's these meanies who go, I don't care.
The
Give me my 80
Farharad
points.
Serpent Horde. Boo! Leave them alone.
Farharad was very January, February, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Where it just won everything.
Yeah. If anyone's wondering, this is all on the GBHL website. Should probably do a little plug. If you go onto the GBHL website, it'll look like this. You can then go across to winning lists and open this. It will ask you, it'll take you to Facebook for some reason. I've never understood why. I entirely blame Harry. And then it will take you to this. There's also where we get all the list data from is all on here as well. So you can see exact lists on here. It gets asked a lot in the groups, but yes, this is how you find out all of this information. It is all here. So you can see that if we sort this by total podiums, largest to smallest, you come all the way down here, and you can see that we get to line 56. It starts at 3. So 53 different factions have podiumed a event this year.
So, although we did talk about some lists doing very, very well, 53 different lists hitting podiums, it is not a completely defined meta.
No.
Just be good with the stuff that you bring to events. You'll do okay.
Look at the top 10 ones there. They are the ones that you will see a lot of. And people laugh when we say Ministerial and stuff is meta. It's there. It does stuff. It is always in and around the area. It depends on what Ministerial you're using, but yes, it is there. So Ministerial of Harrod, Assault on Loth, Mordor, Angmar, Mahud, Rivendell, and Lothlorien is all in and about it.
I think Rohan needs some more legendary legions so that they can compete and get back into contention.
Yeah, it's clearly struggling. But yeah, Wolves of Isengard there with two podiums so far this year.
Ride to Fairden has got is that 2/3 as an 80?
Yeah. So that means Wolves of Isengard is better than Riders of Fairden. Confirmed.
Yeah, it does.
Stats. This is a fact-based podcast, not a conjecture-based podcast. Wolves of Isengard is factually better than Riders of Fairden. Who's podium events with Return of the King? Go on, King. But yeah, Lake Town only on 5. Just saying. But yeah, that's where you can find this. Also, the rankings and stuff are also on the GBHL website because I've trapped myself. If you go onto the rankings, you can see it all. That's all on there, as is the events. There is my bit of GBHL repping. Look at the Northern Ireland Scotland region. I love it. But yeah. So yeah, there is that. I think we should probably wrap that up there because we're getting into just like waffle mode.
For a change.
Yes, not entirely unlike us. Thank you for joining us once again. If you have, if you didn't, then you can't hear me, so I'm going to call you a terrible mean name. You
a sort of Lothlorien player, you.
Yeah. And I'll go and dust my Soul Lothlorien back out. I just found it incredibly boring. That was my problem with it. But it's just entirely predictable. That's what I found of playing with it. Personally. But that's me. All right. Love you, bye.
Bye-bye.